morning after the birthday party felt strangely different to Ada. Nothing around her had changed. The same narrow streets outside her apartment, the same early morning sounds drifting through her window, the same sunlight stretching lazily across the floor. And yet, everything felt unfamiliar. Because for the first time in years, someone had remained in her thoughts long after a conversation ended. Daniel. His voice replayed in her mind in fragments. The calm way he spoke, the quiet confidence in his eyes, the strange feeling she had when he looked at her, as though he saw something deeper than what everyone else noticed. Ada tried to ignore it. But feelings rarely disappear simply because we ask them to. Her phone buzzed later that afternoon. An unknown number. For a moment, she stared at it before answering. Hello? Hi, the voice said warmly. I hope I'm not disturbing you.
Ada felt her heartbeat quicken instantly. Daniel. A smile touched her lips before she could stop it. No, she replied softly. You're not. I wasn't sure if you gave me your number because you wanted to, or because you were being polite. Ada laughed quietly. I'm still deciding. Daniel chuckled softly on the other end. Well, I'm hoping you decide in my favor. Something about the ease between them frightened her slightly, because connections like this were rare, and rare things often came with complications. Over the next few weeks, they spoke almost every day. At first, it was simple conversations, then longer ones, then hours that disappeared unnoticed. They spoke about dreams they had buried, fears they had never shared, and childhood wounds that still quietly shaped them. Ada found herself opening parts of her heart she usually kept locked away. Daniel listened carefully, not to respond, but to understand. And slowly, without realizing it, Ada began depending on those conversations. They became the brightest part of her days. But outside their growing connection, the whispers had not stopped. In fact, they had grown louder. At another family gathering, Ada could feel the judgment before anyone even spoke. Her aunt leaned toward her mother with a disapproving expression. That man again? Ada pretended not to hear. He moves too fast, another relative added. Men like that always have hidden intentions. They just met. She's being careless. The words surrounded her like invisible hands trying to pull her backward. Ada tried to ignore them. But criticism has a way of slipping into even the strongest minds. That evening, her best friend Chioma visited her. Unlike the others, Chioma was honest without being cruel. You really like him, Chioma said carefully. Ada looked away. I think I do. Chioma hesitated. And do you trust him? The question lingered heavily between them. Ada wanted to answer immediately, but she couldn't. Not because Daniel had done anything wrong, but because fear had started growing crowned around her feelings. What if everyone is right? Ada whispered. Chioma sighed softly. People will always have opinions, she said. Especially when something looks too good, too quickly. Ada sat quietly. I'm scared, she admitted.
Of him? Ada shook her head slowly. No, she whispered. Of getting hurt. Meanwhile, Daniel was fighting battles of his own. His family had also begun questioning the relationship. At dinner one evening, his older brother laughed dismissively. So this is the woman you suddenly can't stop talking about? Daniel remained calm. Yes. His mother exchanged glances with his brother. You barely know her, she said carefully. I know enough. That's what people always see before disaster, his brother muttered. Daniel's jaw tightened slightly. You haven't even met her. We don't need to, his mother replied. We've seen how these things end. Daniel looked around the table quietly. For the first time, he realized something important. People were not afraid of their relationship because they understood it. They were afraid because they didn't. And sometimes, people attack what they cannot explain. Days later, Ada and Daniel met again. This time at a quiet restaurant, far away from familiar faces and judging eyes. For a while, everything felt peaceful again. Until Ada finally asked the question that had been haunting her. Do you ever think we are moving too fast? Daniel studied her carefully before answering. Do you? Ada hesitated. I don't know. Daniel leaned back slightly. Can I tell you something honestly? Ada nodded. I think people confuse speed with certainty, he said quietly. Some people spend years together and still don't truly know each other. Other people meet once and recognize something immediately. Ada looked at him silently. And what do you think this is? She asked. Daniel's expression softened. I think this is rare. Her heart trembled at the way he said it. Not dramatically, not recklessly, just honestly. But honesty does not silence fear. And fear was beginning to spread around them like smoke. Friends started pulling away. Relatives became colder. Even strangers seemed eager to offer warnings about a relationship they knew nothing about. You're making a mistake. It won't last. You're blinded by emotions. At first, Ada defended their love confidently. But slowly, the pressure began exhausting her. One rainy evening, everything finally exploded. Ada arrived home to find her mother waiting for her. The tension in the room was immediate. You're still seeing him, her mother said firmly. Ada sighed. Mama! No, her mother interrupted sharply. Listen to me carefully. This relationship is becoming a problem. A problem for who? For this family. Ada stared at her in disbelief. You barely know him. I know enough, her mother replied coldly. You're judging him because of rumors. I'm judging the situation because I'm your mother. Silence crashed between them. Painful. Heavy. Then came the words Ada would never forget. If you continue with this relationship, her mother said quietly, don't expect my support. Ada felt felt something inside her break. Not loudly, but deeply. That night, she sat alone crying quietly. Her phone buzzed. Daniel. She answered without speaking. "I can hear you crying," he said softly. Ada covered her mouth, trying to steady herself. "They want me to leave you." Silence. Then Daniel spoke carefully. "And what do you want?" Ada closed her eyes tightly, because for the first time, she realized love was no longer the difficult part. The difficult part was everything surrounding it.